Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar on career opportunities with DevOps. I'm Sharan Nayak from CloudThat, and I will be your anchor for the webinar. I take this opportunity to briefly introduce CloudThat technologies and our presenter for today, Mamta Jha. For CloudThat's introduction, CloudThat was incorporated in March 2012 and provides training and consulting services in cloud, big data, and IoT technologies for mid-market and enterprise clients around the world. With the expertise in major cloud platforms including AWS and Microsoft Azure, CloudThat is uniquely positioned to be the single technology source for organizations looking to utilize the flexibility and power cloud computing and IoT provides. Till date, we have trained more than 7,000 IT professionals and conducted corporate trainings for some of the Fortune 500 companies, which also includes Accenture, Infosys, Fidelity, HCL, Intuit, GE, Oracle, Philips, Flipkart, just to name a few. We have presence in Mumbai, Bengaluru, USA and UK, but also offer on-site and pre-scheduled public batches in different IT-centric cities of India and overseas. CloudThat is an AWS consulting partner, Microsoft Silver Learning Partner, Microsoft Silver Cloud Platform Partner, Google Cloud Platform Partner, Red Hat Certified Training Partner, MongoDB Ready Partner. Now coming to Mamta's introduction, Mamta is a cloud solutions architect with more than a decade of experience in software development. She specializes in DevOps and OpenStack. In her previous tenure, she worked as a Layer 2 and Layer 3 protocol developer in wireless domain. Here at CloudThat, she currently heads the DevOps vertical at CloudThat in training and consulting. She owns several Red Hat certification in cloud and DevOps and is also a Red Hat certified instructor. Now we have Aditya and Gyan as our moderators for today's webinar. Over to you, Mamta.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Sharan, for the introduction. So to start with, let's see today's agenda. Let's try and understand what have been really point of focus for all of us for the next 1 hour. So we would be trying and understanding what exactly DevOps is, and then why DevOps is needed, what are the different stages in the life cycle of DevOps, the different tools we use for the DevOps, different stages, the development stage, testing, integration, deployment, and monitoring, and the several tools used during those stages. DevOps present adoption across the industry, the future trends for next coming 5 years. What is the present salary trends for the DevOps professionals? Future job roles. What DevOps certifications you people can target for to become a DevOps professional? And at last, it would be Q&A. So we would you can post your questions in the chat window, and at the end, we would go through all the questions one by one. So to start with, I would first like to discuss what DevOps means. If we really want to make a career in DevOps, we will have to understand and adopt DevOps. I would rather say we will have to live the DevOps way. So let's start with the definition of DevOps. It's a process which unifies the roles of development and operations. So it's a combination of development and the operations engineer, and they are no more isolated. They don't work independently, rather they combine together. So to say DevOps is just not a process which we would start following, rather it's a complete cultural and a mindset shift. DevOps is highly in demand in today's IT scenario, and almost all the big companies have adopted DevOps, and rest are grappling. This is because DevOps bring a lot of things to us. So going to why would we need DevOps? It brings collaboration between development and operation teams, and thus improves productivity for both the teams. So there was a lot of silos between the development and the operation teams. So with the silos between development and operation gone, both the departments can work together towards the same goal, communicating with each other throughout the entire process, and really helping each other to solve the bigger business problems. DevOps also injects automation into the life cycle of an applications. So let's try and comprehend DevOps life cycle. So here we would see that software life cycle constitutes of several stages like coding, building, testing, release, and then operate. So seeing this life cycle picture, I know all of you have the same thought running in your mind. What's new in this? But here the stages may look the same which we have followed in the past, but we have a lot of new tools incorporated in every stage so that we can attain the final result. The stages of the life cycle and applications may look same here, but the process followed at every stage is not as before. The frequency of committing code, doing tests, triggering builds, deploying applications have increased exponentially. So if we refer any scenario from our daily life, we will realize that when the work becomes cumbersome and we got to do it regularly, that is when we try and automate it. So let's take a very silly example. Like, for example, if I can think of, if I really ask you to blow 25 balloons on your child's birthday, which obviously comes once in a year, you can think of completing this task without using any blowing machine. But if I ask you to blow 25 balloons bi-weekly for your child's friend's birthday too, then you would obviously get a thought of automating this process and would use a blowing machine. Same way, till the time we followed the age-old waterfall model, the frequency of code commits, tests, build, deploy was really less. And we as software engineers were okay to handle that. But if we think of reducing time to market, doing small pieces of deliverables, we go through the complete life cycle again and again for each piece of deliverable. So the thought which comes into our mind is we can use a lot of automation, orchestration, and this is where DevOps is the solution. So one of the main approach is its ability to shorten an application's time to market by uniting development and operations team, creating standardized process that reduces time it takes for an application to be up and running. These standardized processes are developed through orchestration of several different automated tasks to create a repeatable and reusable workflow. So we got to create a repeatable and reusable workflow so that for each piece of small piece of deliverable which we have, we follow the process. So an effective DevOps culture, automation and orchestration work hand in hand to streamline the application deployment. Both automation and orchestration normally normally manage the mundane and day-to-day operations of IT team. So that we can focus on more strategic and value-add activities. However, when we refer to automation, actually we are referring to a single task or function that is accomplished without human intervention, while orchestration describes the arrangement of these automated tasks into a consolidated workflow. To make it more simple, automation is concerned with individual tasks, while orchestration is concerned with processes. There are several tools in DevOps Ocean which help us to achieve this shortened life cycle. So we will go through the different stages of DevOps life cycle one by one and try and understand that how in each stage we are using several tools. So there is, on the screen, there is a list of tools for each of the stages of the life cycle. For infrastructure as a code, the tools available in the market are like Ansible, Puppet, Chef, and SaltStack. Most famous ones are Chef and Puppet. Puppet was Famous till last few years, people have adopted Puppet a lot, but these days people are planning to move to Ansible because Ansible provides an agentless architecture. So we will go through the main tools which are there in each of the forte one by one. Then comes the CI/CD, that is the continuous integration and continuous delivery. We have the undisputable leader, which is Jenkins, and then we have shippable, we have automation, we have Selenium, we have Maven, we have Gradle, and Jenkins also does a lot of automation, test automation. Containerization has come to limelight in last few years. We have tools like Docker and Rocket for containerization of our softwares. Orchestration is also very famous these days. We have Kubernetes, Mesos, OpenShift, Swarm for that. Coming to the next stage of deployment, we have our code integrated, we have our code tested. The next step we go through is the deployment. So we have Jenkins, we have Elastic Beanstalk if we talk about AWS. Last but not the least, monitoring and measurement plays a very important role in the software development life cycle. So New Relic, we have stacks like Elasticsearch, Logstash, Kibana combined together called as ELK, or Elasticsearch, Fluentd, Kibana called as EFK. We have very famous paid tool like Splunk. So we have a big list of tools here. We will try and focus few of the tools which are the most famous tools in each of the forte and try and learn a little bit about them, and then see what is the trends of those particular tools in the market at present, which of the particular tools have certifications which we can attain so that we become a better DevOps professional. So starting with the phases. Before that, I would just try to list all the top 10 DevOps tools for 2017 and 18. So Git comes from the code management tool. Selenium is the automated testing, Docker for containerization, Kubernetes and OpenShift for orchestration, Ansible for configuration management and deployment, Splunk, Nagios, and ELK Stack for monitoring. So let's go to the first stage, which is the continuous development. So this is the phase in which the vision of the project is decided, and during the planning phase and the project vision is decided, and then the coding phase starts. The code can be written in any language, let it be C, C++, Java, PHP, any language. But to maintain it, we have to have different versions. That means it is to be maintained by using version control tools. There are continuous development DevOps tools. An advantage of using version control tools is all versions of our codes would be maintained so that all the developers can collaborate on the latest committed code and build and release operations. Build and release operations team can have access to the same piece of code, So whenever an issue happens during a release, there is nothing to worry. Operation team can just roll back to the older version of the code. They can revert it back in one go. There are other collaboration tools also in this bucket. This would help the different team members to communicate with each other. Normally, when we are following Agile, we have a lot of features. We break them into stories. We break them into several tasks. Team check out the tasks. So there has to be a collaboration across teams, across different hierarchy in the company so that they understand on which feature people are working at present, what are the stories which are checked out, which are the tasks which are checked out. So there are collaboration tools like Jira and Slack which help to attain this. So we will focus a little bit on the code management tool, which is Git. It's one of the most famous version control tool. It provides its distribution revision control, and that is because we don't depend on a particular server to have the version control system. Rather, whenever we do a Git initialization, the complete piece of code gets downloaded to our local. So in case if there is any downtime with the main server, we don't have our loss of developers in that. With Git, we can track changes in our files, and we can coordinate across team members. It would help us to have the latest committed code in the repository, and if other team members wish to change the code, they can check out the latest code and make further changes to that. So we can have the version controlling using Git, and it's one of the biggest good or the best tool I have as well used in my 14 years of the career. So advantages of Git are it's free and open source, it's fast, and the package is very small. You don't need a powerful hardware to install a Git. It has implicit backup. It provides secured way of hosting the servers and all that, and it has a easier branching, so you can branch out from the mainstream, do your piece of coding for a complete team, and then when you guys feel that we can merge with the mainstream, you can do a check-in to the mainstream as well. Going to the next stage, once you have coded, that means first level was the coding, in which we are using a version control system. We are checking in our code. Now, once the coding is done, we obviously got to do testing. So we as a developer, we will not go and deploy our code directly into the customer side. Rather, we would do a lot of tests and see the performance and the bugs if there are any. So there are a lot of test automation tools which are present, like Selenium and APM Test Studios. A lot of different tools are there. Automation testing saves a lot of time, effort, and labor for executing the test cases manually. So in the past, we had manual testing, so we had to write manual test cases, sit and run one of the test cases manually. Now we have a lot of things to do automated testing. You have a test case written, and you can run the test cases in the suite, and it would be automated test running. Guys, just a second. I think there is some connection issue. We would connect to a different network. So just give a second. There could be a glitch. Yeah, sorry for that disturbance. So continuing on the testing part, automation testing saves time, as I mentioned. Besides that, it can do report generation. That is a big plus. The task of evaluating which test case failed in which suite and all that gets simpler because you have everything in the listed form. And the test can also be scheduled for execution at a particular time. You can do all those automation with that. So coming to Selenium, the famous tool in the continuous testing forte. Selenium provides a portable software testing framework for web application. It supports a lot of different types of languages, as mentioned on the slide, like Java, Python, Ruby, PHP. It's a good piece of tool to work with. Going to the next phase of the life cycle. Now we have coded, we have done testing. So as an individual, I'm doing coding, I'm doing testing. Then obviously when a lot of people in the team are coding, we got to integrate our code. So continuous integration plays a major role even during the first release. It helps massively to integrate the continuous integration tools with configuration management tools for deployment. So undoubtedly, the winner in this particular section comes as Jenkins. It's one of the best tools which has a lot of plugins available in the market, and it's the most renowned and used tool in continuous integration. So it gives a master and slave architecture type of architecture. You can check in your code and automate build would happen. So how would that be? If you do a git check-in, a commit of the code would intimate to the Jenkins through a webhook. Jenkins comes to know that there is a new code which has been checked in by a developer. It would automatically trigger a Maven build or a build, normal build. And from there, you can even place the code into the Selenium, push the code to the Selenium for automated testing. So if we see the plugins which can be plugged with Jenkins, these are few to name, but there are a lot many plugins which can be used. So for version control system, you can plug in Jenkins, Bitbucket. For the builds, we have Maven. For continuous testing, we have Selenium. Configuration management, you have Puppet. For deployment, Ansible. You can even deploy into Kubernetes. You can deploy to OpenShift. You can deploy to containers. You can deploy to any of the cloud platforms like AWS. Then comes the monitoring with Nagios or with Splunk and all. You can have the integration done. Continuing with the next phase, we have integrated our code, we have tested, we have coded the complete feature. Now comes the actual time where we do the deployment of our code. So this is the real phase of action. It's time to understand why DevOps would be incomplete without a configuration management or a containerization tool. So continuous deployment can be broken into two parts. One is configuration management tool and the other is containerization tool. In the configuration management tool, we have a big list like Ansible, Chef, Puppet, Terraform is there. For AWS, we have CloudFormation templates, etc. So the configuration management tools does releasing of deployments to servers, scheduling updates on all the servers, and most importantly, keeping the configuration consistent across all the servers. That means, for example, if you have different environments of production, QA, you have staging environment, you have dev environment, and you have several servers running with a single click or single run of a playbook or a cookbook, you can configure all the machines in one go. Even though if you have different versions of softwares on web servers running in different environments, like for example, if my production is running version 3.2 and my development environment has running 3.5, which is the latest development version, we can even, with a single trigger, configure the servers in one go in both the environments. So tools like Ansible, Chef, and all help us attain this. Coming to the leaders in this particular forte, Ansible is built around an agentless architecture. Puppet was built with master-slave architecture. Even Chef has the master-slave architecture. Chef and Puppet both have a dependency of the learning curve being more because we have to learn Ruby with that. So building on those difficult terms of Chef and Puppet, Ansible came into market with agentless architecture and with no language dependency. You write the playbook in YAML and it executes that in the backend in Python. So Ansible connects to the host. It manages using OpenSSH or WinRM, and then it would run the tasks, and it would often push small programs called Ansible modules to those hosts. It has cross-platform support. That means Ansible provides agentless support for Linux, Windows, Unix. You can even configure network devices, any physical machine, a virtual machine. You can bring up cloud servers of AWS, Azure, any container environment. All that you can configure using Ansible. The best part of it, Ansible playbooks are human readable because it is written in YAML text file. They are easy to read and they help ensure that everyone understands. It's just like English language text, but has a little bit of syntax in that. Then it provides like every change you make to a playbook, you can even check in the playbooks to the version control system like Git, which we discussed. And for example, today I have coded a playbook and I have checked in. Using that, Jenkins picks up, understand that I want to make so-and-so machine. They can do the deployment of that particular type of machine. I want to enhance my playbook. I can even do that in future. So it's easy to do version control of the playbooks as well. So coming to the next leader, I would say rather not the next leader, Ansible and Chef go neck to neck. Both are equally famous and equally adapted. Chef has been there in the industry for a few years. Ansible has come just last 3-4 years, but has captured a lot of market. So Chef has evolved over the years to be a very robust and complete integration, continuous deployment, infrastructure compliance tool. So the disadvantage with Chef, if you compare with Ansible, is Ansible has an agentless architecture, whereas Chef has thin servers and thick clients. Why we say thin servers and thick clients is clients are intelligent enough, they pull the needed scripts from the servers and get that executed on themselves. So we don't have that much burden on the servers to configure the clients. So a single servers can manage huge number of clients as well. So going to the next phase, we have done deployment. So when you do deployment, we saw the configuration management tool coming. So with configuration management tool, normally containerization and orchestration comes hand in hand, because when we are trying to deploy, I mentioned that with Ansible and all, you can deploy as a container, you can deploy the code in Kubernetes. So when we have this latching done between the configuration management tool and the containerization tool done, Docker, let's say Amazon Container Service or Azure Container Service are the famous ones which people are using in the market at present. And there are different orchestration tools like Kubernetes, Docker Swarm. I would like to mention OpenShift here, even though OpenShift is platform as a service, but it uses Docker and Kubernetes underneath and provides all the features of orchestration, plus it provides a lot of templates. That's the reason it is called as platform as a service. So OpenShift is also an option in this particular footing. So coming to the container, container management and automation tools are today of great necessity, I would say, because IT organization, everyone need to manage and monitor their cloud and native distributed applications. So what exactly is containerization? I would say containerization is a lightweight alternative to the virtualization of the full machine. We had virtual machines in the past before the actual application servers, and virtual machines used to be bulky. It was really difficult to have all the RPMs, the dependencies, the libraries to be packaged together. Encapsulation was a big trouble. So containers help us in encapsulating an application with all its dependencies and needing operating environment together, and it doesn't have any underlying dependency with any of the machines. You can run containers, prepare the container on a Linux virtual machine and run the container on a Windows machine. That is also possible. So containerization became famous with this particular tool called Docker. In Docker, containers are designed and developed in such a way that they are capable enough of running on everything ranging from physical machines to virtual machines to OpenStack cloud clusters to physical instances and all sort of cloud servers. So as I've mentioned in the slide, it can run on AWS, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. It supports on all the major clouds these days. Then comes the orchestration. So once we have a lot of containers, it's like if you have Docker, you can run containers, but it would be on the single host and it would be in countable numbers. But if you really want to run containers, manage a huge fleet of containers, you would need an orchestration and management tool like Kubernetes, which would help us to manage the complete fleet of clusters. So Kubernetes is also open source platform. It helps us automate the container operations. So what exactly orchestration describes? So orchestration would say automated arrangement, coordination across the containers, management of the complex container-based applications. Container orchestration has the potential to solve issues across a range of scaled replicas. If you can replicate your containers when they are in high demand, like suddenly you see a huge traffic. For example, if you're Amazon.com and you have put some sale on August 15th and you see a lot of people buying, you have a lot of traffic, you can scale up your containers to serve the heavy traffic demand. You can even make fault tolerant, and intercommunication across containers is very easy because of the container network plugins or the interface which we use for it. So Kubernetes provides this. With this orchestration, you can span your containers across the complete cluster. You can schedule those containers across the cluster. There is a scheduler algorithm running which schedules the containers on proper nodes. You can have your own scheduling algorithm as well. You can scale those containers. Even you can manage the health of the containers. On the Docker level, managing the health of the containers is not possible, but with orchestration tool, we can manage the health of containers. So we are done with the containerization and orchestration and configuration management. So last piece of it is the monitoring. So now my code is deployed using Ansible into a cloud or into a on-prem setup, into a Kubernetes cluster on EC2 instances or bare servers or on virtual machines. I got to monitor them. Because once you have monitoring systems, there is a lot of chances that you have buggy features and you have a lot of other bugs in the code which were missed during the testing phase. It's always good to have a well estimated type of environment. You can see how is the performance of your software, how much big machines would be needed actually to run the piece of software. So monitoring is important as developing the applications, because there will be always a chance that we would have escaped the bug as I mentioned during the testing phase. So the tools like Splunk, ELK Stack, Nagios, Datadog, New Relic are some of the popular tools for monitoring. And they can be combined with Jenkins, using which we achieve continuous monitoring. To minimize the consequences of buggy features, monitoring would be a big add-on. Because we know that with a lot of data analytics, with IoT, we are aware that there is exponential growth in the machine data over the last decade. And it's partially due to because of the growing numbers of the machines in the IT infrastructure, or it's partly due to the increased use of IoT devices. This machine data which we get, it is really very good that if we analyze that, we can derive efficiency, productivity, and a visibility for our business from them. But it is very complex to understand. It is not in a structured format and not suitable for making any analysis on it or any visualization. So tools like Splunk and ELK plays a role here. We can feed the machine data to Splunk or ELK, which will do the data processing for us. So the dirty part of processing is done by these tools. Once it processes and extracts the relevant data, we will be able to easily locate where and what the problems are. So in this particular, Splunk is a paid tool. So and ELK Stack is one of the free ones, but Splunk is good because it helps us in storing, searching, analyzing, visualizing all the machine-generated data. Even ELK does that, but ELK is a combination of three open source tools, which is Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Similar combination we can do with Elasticsearch, Fluentd, and Kibana. So these are lightweight, easy to deploy tools. They do near real-time searches. They even can collect and analyze logs from an Excel file or from a database or from a server as well. So these are the different phases of DevOps which we have seen, starting with development, then comes to testing, then came integration, then we came to deployment, and then we came to monitoring. So we are done with the different phases. We saw which all tools are the market leaders in these particular sections or the phases of the life cycle of a software. Then let's try and understand, when we are saying career opportunities with DevOps, I would like try to give you an idea which all big companies are actually adapted the DevOps into their software development life cycle. So big giants which are using DevOps are like Netflix, Dell, Adobe, JP Morgan, IBM, Facebook, Amazon, Accenture, name any company. As I said in the beginning, most of the companies have adopted DevOps and rest are grappling behind. Companies are rapidly adopting DevOps because it's giving a lot of advantages. You can see the Google Trends, any organization you name. Earlier, when I was in wireless, for me to have job opportunities, I was just tied up to wireless domain. I was just tied up to LTE, like 3G, 2G opportunities. But if you really want to make a DevOps career, you are not tied up to any of the particular domain, because any company which is building up a software would have a need for the DevOps end-to-end pipeline, and there is when you incorporate all these tools and set up their complete DevOps pipeline. So organizations like financial services, insurance, telecom, healthcare, even the public sector is not left behind. China government has biggest OpenStack setup, and they have biggest CI/CD pipeline deployment. So this is the trend of DevOps going from 2013 to 17, and going ahead as well. The trend is going to increase because at present not more than 40% companies in the market have adopted DevOps, and still 60% of the companies are left in the market to adopt. So there's a lot of job opportunities in DevOps market, and there's a lot of work which would be coming in future, a lot of good piece of work, integrating different tools, making them run, maybe which tools are market leaders today. They have several other competitor tools as well. There are a lot of companies which are just making full-time DevOps tools. They are into making tools. So few of the companies like New Relic and all you never knew in the past, they have just become famous because they have launched a tool for the CI/CD pipeline. So either you can go into the making of the tools, or you can go into the usage of the tools with adapting DevOps. So seeing the Google Trends for some specific tools like Ansible, Kubernetes, and Docker, you're seeing the graph is increasing, and it's like exponential increase, and it would be exponential increase in the future as well. So DevOps will be the mainstream, I would say, and garner a lot of attention. Hence, 2018 is also going to be a year of DevOps. Rather, we would say next 5 to 7 years is going to be a golden period. Automation, continuous testing will become more popular and more important, because when you have things to be done manually, you spend a lot of time. When people are expected to reduce the time to market, there's no option but to automate. And when you have big pieces of hardware and they are underutilized, you would move towards containerization. When you have a lot of containers, you will move towards orchestration and management of containers. So there are a lot of tools which we would be adopting in the coming future. We have very important for these 3 C's: continuous integration, deployment, and delivery. These are going to gain a lot of momentum in the coming future. Containerization would be in the limelight. We have a lot of companies running after microservices. So microservices at present are running on virtual machines. People are trying to break their monolithic application to microservices. So you have a lot of opportunities in case you're a coder to break the microservice monolithic application to microservices, to architect them in a better way, make small pieces of code to work, deliver them, test them. So when small pieces of things work, you integrate them and then test them and deliver it in a bigger chunk to the customer. So this was the trend in the market, how the companies have adapted, which companies have adapted, what's the trend of the tools. The most important, the salary. So let's see the salary part. This is the, sorry guys, this is the adoption one. If you see the adoption figures, 22% in the purple, they say just undertaken our DevOps journey. So if you see in 2017, 25% of the market was, they are trying to explore DevOps, they are into POCs, they are trying to explore what is DevOps is, how do they gain. So once people are trying to adopt DevOps, they obviously need people, those who are certified. They want DevOps professional, DevOps engineers, DevOps testers and all, so that the people, those who have real hands-on on these tools, they can work with the tools. So obviously there would be a higher demand for DevOps professional going ahead in the market in next 5 to 7 years. So if we see the salary trends, it has good salary compensation given to the DevOps people. Sorry. In the last 2 years, if you see the listing of the DevOps jobs on Indeed.com, Naukri.com, and all have increased by 75%. So with this, you can estimate that how much job requirement is being created with DevOps adoption in the market. On LinkedIn, if you go, you would see around 50% of the people have mentioned DevOps, 50% more increase you are seeing in their skills mentioned as DevOps. So strangely here, unlike other jobs in other technologies, DevOps is witnessing interesting trends. That means all the job roles which we have, all the popular job roles which we have. So if we see at the job roles, we have architect, we have engineers, we have manager, specialist, tester, engineer. In all the popular job titles and DevOps, we see a similar growth in the opportunity. It's just not that you have good openings for DevOps engineers and you don't have for architects. Rather, you have openings on all the levels, because when you see the complete CI/CD pipeline, is a complete software development life cycle. The same pieces or the same roles which were there, they got to know DevOps now. So you are a developer or an operations veteran at present. Now it's high time to start acquiring skills outside your current role. Come out of your comfort zone. If you're a developer, start to understand the operations out of it, try and see which DevOps tools can be integrated, which tools can you use. If you're an operations person, you got to know a little bit of coding with infrastructure as a code with Ansible or Chef or Puppet. So DevOps is a big ocean, guys. It's a huge list of tools. It's just not 1 or 2 tools that you would master and you would become a DevOps professional. If you see the JDs, they have long list of tools mentioned. So you got to have few of the tools in your kitty so that you can say that I'm a DevOps professional. So it would be good if you target the most popular tools which we had listed, because the staler ones are the tools which are like not used that much, or in the future they would lose the usage in the market. People are adapting newer tools because they are coming on the drawbacks of the older tools. So what traits of a DevOps engineer should be? You should be expert in handling transitions. When you have different phases, the different phase transitions has to be handled well. You have to be a cross-trained professional. So if I am looking for a DevOps architect, I would rather look for a developer turned operations guy, because that guy would know exactly how the application architecting should be, and the person can even identify the various tools which can be used for that. Automation would be a big plus point in this, because everyone feels like to do a lot within a small span of time. So that would be a big add-on. And these days you have a lot of community is having for Docker, Kubernetes, you have a lot of community meetups. So it's a high time, if you really want to shift to DevOps, you got to enroll to those communities, you got to enroll to that, and then start making your network. See which tools are good, which opportunities are good, and then try and capture those. So coming to the certification section. So this is the most important section, because if you are planning to be a DevOps professional, you got to certify yourself, because with the certifications, your resume holds a great value in the market. So with the configuration management tool certification, we have certification. First one is for the Ansible. So Red Hat provides Ansible certification. Second one doesn't mention Puppet in the name, but it is configuration management with Puppet. So it has Puppet certification. Then comes the Chef developer certification. It has 3 different batches in it. Basic Chef Fluency batch, then local cookbook development batch, and extending Chef batch. So these are 3 different levels of certification Chef. So Ansible and Chef are the most popular ones these days. People are adapting Ansible and Chef, so you guys can target either Ansible or Chef or both of them. Going to the containerization and orchestration certifications, Docker has their own certification as Docker Certified Associate. Kubernetes also have their own certification, like Certified Kubernetes Administrations. So this Red Hat certification and the Kubernetes certification are hardcore practical exam, 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on which paper you give. But DCA is multiple choice question, 55 questions in 80 minutes. So that is alone the multiple choice question. Chef also is a multiple choice question exam for the first level. Rest 2 levels have hands-on with it. I have mentioned OpenShift here because OpenShift is also a famous tool as a platform as a service. And it has inherited CI/CD implementation features in it. So you can even target for the OpenShift administration certification. Coming to the build and the monitoring certification, we have for the Jenkins, we have certified Jenkins engineer. For the monitoring ones, for Nagios, we have Nagios certified professionals. Splunk has several certifications like user, power user, admin, architect, architect level 2. So there are several certifications in this. So coming this would be the end. I would say that guys, if you're planning to move to DevOps, or already you're having hands-on in DevOps, you're working in DevOps, certification is always a value add. So you can do certification, have those logos in your resume, and it would be a great value add to your resume. So the last one which I have kept is DevOps Cloud certification. So with DevOps tools, you don't get tied up to any of the companies or the domains, and you don't get tied up to any cloud as well. So these days, public cloud, private clouds, these things are like in boom, right? So you have Azure, you have GCP, you have Amazon, you have OpenStack, you have Mirantis, but DevOps fits everywhere. You name the cloud, DevOps tools have penetrated their roots inside, and they are used in any of the clouds, let it be public or private cloud. So 2 of the public cloud certifications which we have for DevOps is AWS Certified DevOps Engineer, which is a professional level. For this, you got to get first the Associate SysOps certification. And Azure is launching a new certification in DevOps with 70538. So this would be the last checklist I would mention. If you're planning, do a little bit in infrastructure as a code, understand what is containers, try to set up high available scalable applications using containers, try and scale, have a good scalable infrastructure using Kubernetes, have little bit of hands-on or certification in Jenkins. You can do push button deploys with Jenkins. You can do multiple deploys in a day using Jenkins. And you can as well use Git or Bitbucket type of version control system for the code integration. So coming to the end, I would hand it over to Sharon. We have few of the DevOps courses at CloudThat, so he would be briefing you about that.
Right. Thank you, Mamta. Thank you all for being a part of the webinar. Hope it was a valuable one. A feedback form has been sent to all the attendees, so request you all to fill in the form and send it back to us. Now, as it shows, we have the upcoming batches scheduled for fundamental DevOps of DevOps level 1, then Docker Essentials level 2, and Kubernetes Essentials level 2. The schedule will be disclosed soon. But for the Certified Kubernetes Administrator level 3 and Chef Essentials, Ansible Essentials, the dates have been given. So just to mention that we also have the early bird offer of 10% cashback on any of the courses if you register within the next 24 hours, right? So now we get back onto the question and answer round. So Mamta will be addressing the questions. Over to you again, Mamta.
Okay, so Karan has asked a question that he is from a core networking background, and would DevOps be a good option for him, or it will be a new career for him? So Karan, to answer your question, you are into networking, you are into bringing up the router, configuring router and switches and all that. You can have automation tools like Ansible do the work for you rather than doing it manually. So DevOps can be used in that. You can even, these networking tools and all that would be used, or networking is used in Kubernetes, in OpenShift. So we see a lot of Cisco guys itself coming for Kubernetes classes, trying to move their complete profile towards DevOps. So you can obviously opt for it. Go for Kubernetes, go for Ansible. That would be a better option. It has networking in it, or you can even go for software-defined networking type of it. Exactly not pure DevOps, then you can move towards the cloud, OpenStack. Networking comes with network function virtualization. So those options are open for you, because networking, wherever you go, you were doing networking within the physical machines. Now it's the option to do networking across the virtual machines or in the cloud. So yeah, you have options open. It would not be a new career for you. Your past experience should be considered, I would say. So any other questions, guys? Okay, thanks. Thanks to everyone, those who had joined the call. Hope you had a good informative session. Thanks, Sharon, and thanks, Gyan and Aditya as well. Hope you have a good day, and maybe we'll meet next time with a new topic for the webinar. Thank you.